Good morning. Today we are going to discuss the third chapter in class 10th history, that is nationalism in India. In this particular chapter, we have to discuss the arrival of Mahatma Gandhi in India, the massive movements he started, and we have to discuss two of his massive movements, that is non-cooperation, that was started in 1920, and then civil disobedience movement that was started in 1930. Before we can go for the non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement, let us see some of the initials or the circumstances in which Mahatma Gandhi arrived in India and how he started the massive movements. The first heading which we have to discuss is the First World War, Khilafat movement, and finally non-cooperation movement. First World War provided some of the factors which led to the emergence of Mahatma Gandhi as a national leader or the starting of the massive movements in India. Let us discuss some of the factors which First World War provided or which were caused by the First World War. So that is impact of war on the nationalist movement. As the First World War was going on in Europe between the time period 1914 to 1918, Europe was in need of severe, Europe was in need of continuous resource supply which the Britishers wanted to extract from India. So they started some of the points, like they increased the taxes on India. Already the Indians were burdened with the heavy taxes imposed by the Britishers, but the new taxes led to the rise in prices. Because the continuous army requirement was there by the Britishers to fight the war in Europe, they forced the Indians, or forced recruitment was started in India, because of which the Indians were not satisfied. As the Britishers were continuously engaged in the First World War, they were not able to look into the circumstances prevailing in India, which led to the crops failure or the spread of various epidemics in India, because of which many million people got killed. So these factors, whether it was forced recruitment, whether it was rises in prices, or whether it was the crops failure or influenza epidemics, all these made the people angry, and they were looking for some way how to express their anger. And when the rise of Mahatma Gandhi was there, it provided them an ideal moment to show their anger towards the British. Mahatma Gandhi arrived in India in 1915 from South Africa, where he had successfully practiced his idea of Satyagraha, and he wanted that to be practiced in India also. Let us go first for the meaning of Satyagraha. Satyagraha is the combination of two words. The first one Satya, that is truth, and Agra, that is request. Mahatma Gandhi had a firm belief that if you are fighting for the truth, the word fighting will be wrong. If you have the truth, and if you request it to the person, and if you are able to assure him about the truth, he will abide by it. But if you are trying to assure or trying to convince the other person by the use of violence, that is going to hurt his ego, and to prove himself, he is going to use more violence. So he basically believed in this idea, that is Satyagraha. That is, you have to fight for the truth, and the fight will be in the form of request. If we look towards the three initial Satyagraha started by Mahatma Gandhi in India, the first one he started in Champaran, 1916, where he fighted for the rights of the indigo cultivators. Then in 1917 he moved to Kheda in Gujarat, and finally in 1918, where he fought for the rights of Ahmedabad mill workers, he had the strike over there and he was successful. These three satyagrahas in India, that is Champaran, Kheda and Ahmedabad, as well as the satyagraha which he did in South Africa, all were successful, and Indians were looking forward to Mahatma Gandhi to emerge as a national leader to lead them to fight against the Britishers. The next heading which we have to discuss is the Rowlatt Act, its meaning and why it was opposed. As I have already discussed to you, during the First World War, when Britishers were lacking in resources, they wanted to have the resources from India. They had talks with Congress and assured them that once the war is over, they can think of providing some relaxations to the Indians. But as the war got over in 1918, because the Britishers wanted to rebuild their economy, they imposed more taxes on India, in contrary to what they have promised, that they will be providing relaxations to the Indians. So obviously they were expecting that the Indians are going to stand against the various new taxes and the steps taken by the Britishers to curb these stands, or to curb these opposition by the Indians. The Britishers introduced a new act in 1919 that was termed as the Rowlatt Act, which allowed the Britishers to arrest any person without telling him the cause of his arrest, and this person can be arrested for 2 continuous years, and the most amazing thing was that he was not even tried in any court. Means that person doesn't have any right to defend himself. This particular act, that is Rowlatt Act, was totally against the independence of anyone, not only Indians. It was totally against the independence of every human being. So it provided a platform, we can say, to Mahatma Gandhi. He started his famous Rowlatt Satyagraha against this Rowlatt Act, and he organized the Satyagraha throughout India. He asked the Indians to go for a Hartal, and a massive All India Hartal was experienced on 6th April. Britishers got annoyed by this behavior of Mahatma Gandhi, or the massive Rowlatt Satyagraha which was held in India, and situations were turning out of hand of the Britishers. So they denied the entry of Mahatma Gandhi into Delhi. Punjab was put under the martial law, and various clashes were felt between the Indians and Britishers in Amritsar. If we come towards the next heading, that is Jallianwala Bagh incident and its opposition. Punjab was put under General Dyer, and he has imposed the martial law in Punjab. On the date, that is 13th April 1919, the day of Baisakhi, lots of people from in and around Amritsar have got themselves in the Jallianwala Bagh. Most of the people were villagers and they were not knowing about the martial law that was imposed. But because it was the day of Baisakhi, that's why they have got into the city and they were there in the Jallianwala Bagh. General Dyer got the information about this. He got over there. He blocked the narrow gate which was the entrance to the Jallianwala Bagh, and indiscriminate firing was held over there. Many people got killed and many more got injured. All over India, a great, what we can say, all over India, lots of people criticized this action of General Dyer. Mahatma Gandhi himself opposed this thing and asked the complete Indians to go against that. For this, he was thinking of again starting some of the satyagraha or movement. In between, the First World War got over. 1918, the First World War got over, and in this First World War, Ottoman Turkey was defeated by Britishers, and the head of Ottoman Turkey, that is Khalifa, was removed from his post. So all over the world, the people of the followers of Islam were against the British. They thought that just because of the Britishers, they have defamed the post of Khalifa. So for the revival of the post of Khalifa all over the world, a Khilafat movement was organized, and in India also, two brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, were trying to revive this movement, that is Khilafat movement. They contacted Mahatma Gandhi for that. Mahatma Gandhi was also interested in this movement because he saw this movement as an opportunity to bring Muslims under the umbrella of a unified national movement. So in the Calcutta session of Congress, he convinced the leaders of Congress to go for the Khilafat movement, to go for the support of Khilafat movement, and very soon he wanted to start a new movement that was termed as non-cooperation. That was Khilafat movement, and if we come towards the non-cooperation, what Mahatma Gandhi felt that the rule of Britishers in India was prevailing or was surviving, the better word will be surviving, because of the cooperation extended by the Indians. If we take it in the simple words, the Britishers used to collect taxes from India or the people of India, but they used to speak in English language and the Indians in the local language. So how the communication was possible? Obviously there was some mediator in between, and that would be definitely in some Indian who were working for the British. So Mahatma Gandhi thought that if this cooperation was withdrawn from the Britishers, it will not be possible for them to continue in India. So in his book Hind Swaraj, written in 1909, he said that if the Indians withdrew their cooperation from the British, it will not be possible for them to continue in India. And after the Jallianwala Bagh massacre and the Khilafat movement, he strongly supported this thing and wanted to start the non-cooperation movement. So he asked the Indians to participate in this movement. There were three phases of this movement. The first one was the surrender of titles. The second one was the boycott of civil services, army, police, courts and legislative council, schools and foreign goods. And even after that, if the Britishers were using repressive methods, a full civil disobedience campaign was expected to be launched. Many leaders in Congress were not interested in this movement. They wanted to participate in the council elections, which was scheduled for November 1920, and were thinking, many of them were also thinking that it can lead to the violence. But Mahatma Gandhi had long talks with them and finally prepared the Congress to participate in the movement. In the annual session of Congress, which was held in Nagpur in December 1920, an agreement was held and Congress decided to go for the non-cooperation.